at the podium as along with the players in the locker room.
All right, before we get into this one, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't heard before, you're hearing it now. We are streaming live on YouTube after every Jazz game. We are also live on Twitter in Twitter Spaces. That is the best place for you to join the conversation. Get a Twitter account. Join the conversation. You can also chat through YouTube. We haven't had many chatters through YouTube, so go ahead and request through YouTube if you want to. Request through Twitter if you want to speak, and chat live on YouTube. Man, this one's crazy. Markkanen hits a buzzer beater with 0.4 seconds. Unfortunately, needs a tenth of a second more. Thrown full court from Vando. Let's get into this, guys. Man, fifth loss in a row. Another heartbreaker for the Jazz. I really thought that they were going to win this the entire time. I thought the crowd was going to pull it through for them. Needed a few stops. Couldn't really get a stop. Got a good look considering that we had 0.4 seconds left. Threw it the full length of the court. Markkanen is savvy enough to know where he's at on the court and positions himself to just basically take a 1-foot 3-point shot, gets it off, swishes it. The entire crowd thinks we win. I thought we won. I was just screaming in my office so loud. My kids are asleep, but I was just screaming. And then you see that the Sacramento Kings players start smiling. They see on the Jumbotron that the light was on. And I mean, on his fingertips with the light on. What a great game. What a fantastic game to watch. I really enjoyed this one because, I guess in today's NBA, it's not a high-scoring game considering usually you're at 117 or like in the hundreds by the fourth quarter. I thought both teams really played defense, and it was a competitive game. Also thought that both coaches had different strategies that were going back and forth. In the beginning, it felt like Walker Kessler was really a disadvantage for us. In the beginning, they had went kind of a small ball and stretching him out. He was having to run out to the three-point line. And then it kind of switched. They had their big guy in, and coach put Kessler back in, and I felt like that was a mismatch for them as far as Kessler. Lauri just had an incredible game, finished with 28 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and you can tell from the past few games the way that he's been shooting the ball as far as field goals and three-pointers. He shot again terribly from the three-point range. He only had 1 for 7, but the difference that is happening with Lauri and that we should take notice as Jazz fans is he's getting to the free throw line a lot more. And really, that's the way to become a prolific scorer. I talked about this last night when Donovan Mitchell went off for 71. I think he had 25 attempts. Lauri shot 100% from the free throw line. So he had 28 of his points 15 of his 28 were from the free throw line. And that's really impressive. I think him getting to the free throw line builds a little momentum, allows him to rest, but also he's having to exert a little bit more energy and is not shooting the three ball as well, which, I'll take. He's adding to his game. Clarkson adds another 24, 9 for 17. Pretty efficient night for him. I really thought Jared Vanderbilt Vando, he had maybe one of his best games. I tweeted out in probably the second quarter, where's this Vando been? Where is he? We saw it in the beginning of the season. We've seen it about every 5 games, but this one was a really great game. There was moments where he was inside making moves. He had 14 points on 12 shots, shot 58%. Also had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, only 2 turnovers. I mean, that's if we want to be a really good team and make it to the playoffs and compete in the playoffs, we've got to have nights like that from Vanderbilt. And this is a really good team in the Sacramento Kings. You've got Barnes, who has won championships with the Golden State Warriors. You got De'Aaron Fox, who might be one of the best point guards in the West. I definitely think he's an all-star. I don't know if he'll make the all-star team, but I definitely think he's an all-star. Sabonis is just a beast, man. He'll for sure make an all-star team. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. Then you got Herter, that's almost like a Klay Thompson. I mean, it's a very well-constructed team, and we're hanging with these guys. Sacramento Kings have been rebuilding for how long now? And we're in technically the first year of our rebuild, and we're hanging with them. We've lost 2 in a row, but the last 5 games we've lost are under 5 points, I believe, all 5 of them. So we're competing. We're there with these other teams. Again, if you want to request to talk, I'm gonna have Dallin. I'm gonna pass the mic to Dallin, and he's gonna go in order. Or
JC's drip was
JC's drip.
Kevin,
All right, so let's go. Whoever Dallin has loaded up, let's do it.
Yeah, go ahead, JC's drip. No,
That shot should have counted, man. I'm looking at Twitter right now, looking at videos, and the ball was in the basket with about 0.6, if not 0.5, not 0.4. If we had 0.1 more on the clock, that shot should have counted. It would have left his fingertips on time. Another heartbreak loss. That's 5 in a row. And not one of those games where a blowout or a game that we expected to lose. We were in it in every game, so it's just the average life of a Jazz fan. Expect at this point, right?
So are you saying on De'Aaron Fox's shot there should have been more time as it went through the hoop?
Go, when you have time, go ahead and look at that, the replay or, the live replay. And the ball went in. It was at the bottom of the net with about 0.6, if not 0.5. And the clock operator stopped the clock 0.1 too late or 0.2 too late. So
see, it's interesting because I had the thought, when he shot it, they go back and review this stuff all the time. They spend way too much time reviewing things, but they go back and review this, and it was such a quick call for them to say no good. I think that you need to go back and make sure that the clock, like you said, either was it started on time or on the previous basket that was made by Fox, was that time correct as the ball went through the hoop? I believe I'd rather at a close game, a buzzer beater like that, I'm fine with the refs taking more time to make the call, but they didn't. It was a super quick call, and it is what it is now. It's over, so we can't go back.
How do we not have a timeout left at the end of the game?
Hang on, coach is on, and then we'll get back to the timeouts because I felt like we had 4 going down the stretch. So let me pass the mic to coach real quick.
Tonight played the way we want to play, and I thought our transition defense was very good, protecting the basket. I thought defensively we did a good job of really making the Kings work. They hit, I think it was 5 threes in the first quarter. A couple of them in transition when we covered up the basket and they kicked it out and made some tough ones. And, had 35 in that quarter. I thought our defense for the remainder of the game was actually really solid on both ends. There's obviously, we could all pick out plays that weren't well executed. But on the whole, I thought our defense was good tonight. And, the Kings are a talented team. We went 13 for 44 from 3 tonight, which obviously didn't help. I thought another night where we got a bunch of good looks and our team executed the way we wanted to. 16 turnovers definitely hurt us. We had some tough ones throughout the game, but our team continues to just stick with it no matter how the game's going. I thought we executed well down the stretch, with the exception of our defense on the last play, and really, really proud of our team and how they continue to battle. I thought, outside of making a few shots, I thought they deserved to win the game tonight. I thought their approach was great. I thought their intensity was great. I thought the way they executed and moved and played with each other was what we're looking for. And so it's on us to continue to maintain that mentality and get out on the road.
De'Aaron had 22 points in the fourth quarter. How much of that was just tough shot making from him versus shots you may would have liked to see?
Yeah, he hit a bunch of mid-range floater, half fadeaway, free throw line jump shots, which are shots that we're willing to live with. The last play he got on the rim, which hurt us a lot. A couple plays before that, we botched a switch and he was able to get a dunk. But outside of those two plays at the basket, I thought he made a lot of shots over defenders in that middle area of the court, which with a player like Fox, that's what you're trying to make him do. He's a really talented scorer, and you can't press up too far into him or else he's going right by you, as we saw in the last play. So he's a heck of a player, and he's a premier guard in this league, and he showed that tonight with a lot of that shot making in the fourth quarter. But outside of those two plays I just mentioned, I think he hit his only three in the fourth quarter as well, right in front of our bench. But for the most part, I thought that we made him play in that middle area, and credit to him, he made them all.
The last play with .4 left, is that something you guys have worked on, or was that just instinct in the moment?
That's all in the moment. We've worked on some full court sets, but it's hard when the ball goes in for everybody to get lined up. I thought Lauri made a break full court, and Vando threw a great pass, and I wish we had a few more tenths there to get that shot off, but it's just that's a tough break. But a heads up play from the guys to not give in, and for Lauri to go full court, and for us not to settle shooting a 90-foot touch shot.
When you lose, 5 consecutive losses by 15 points, 3 of them are game winners. What's the spirit of the team? How do you, as a coach, how do you keep the spirits high?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts right now, and it should. Losing sucks, and if losing doesn't hurt, you shouldn't be here. So I expect for our team, our coaching staff, to hurt when we lose these close games, but at the same time, it's on us the next day to look it in the face and look at the film, understand things we can do better, as our team continues to learn how to win consistently. But, when you look at a 5-game stretch and you could put together 8 plays total in 5 games, that if they went the other way, you're on a 5-game winning streak. The margin between winning and losing in this league is very, very thin, as we're seeing. And so it's on us to just maintain, a consistency of our approach, a consistency of our message, to not be too emotional. Because again, emotion is unproductive. When we go back and look at this, it's easy to get mad and get really frustrated that you're losing. But you gotta take some of the hurt of losing and then look the game in the face and figure out what each of us can do better, myself included, and move forward.
You mentioned that you didn't love the defense that was played on Fox on what proved to be the game-winning basket. What would you ideally like to have seen happen there defensively?
I would like to not see the fastest player in the gym go to his left hand and shoot a layup. Lauri's 7 feet tall, so he probably shouldn't be standing above the three-point line guarding the fastest player in the gym. And, we let him get to his left hand. Vando was going to double from the nail. But Lauri's stance was just a little bit open, and he was able to get to his left hand. another situation where you're in the bonus, and so you have to be perfect with your angles, because if not, you really can't go make a play with your hip at all, because if Fox gets a bump and goes down, he's shooting 2 free throws, and we didn't even make him make a basket. And then the weak side, we have to sell out when Fox drives and trust that your teammate's going to make that secondary help. But, it's when you're guarding a player with that level of athleticism, it's little things. It's, 6-8 inches here, and your stance is 5 degrees too open, and he just takes advantage of it and bursts to his left hand. So, it's something we'll look at as we continue to learn about these late game situations. But, I was more bothered by the 3 back cuts we gave up in the fourth quarter prior to that, that put us in that position.
Okay.
Hardy always does a great job breaking down the game. We're joined by Big T Thurl Bailey calling the game with Bowler.
Yeah, so I wanted to hit a little bit on what we had out there as far as the lineup to try and get a stop. Like, the game's tied. De'Aaron Fox has scores the go-ahead 2 baskets, or 2 points to go ahead. And I'm thinking, he's dribbling up at the top, wasting all the time. You see Vando up top on De'Aaron Fox, which I loved. And then I look over, and Clarkson's there, and you can just see it. They're looking for the switch with Clarkson. And my thought is, why is Beasley not out? Or they better not be switching this. And sure as shit, they switched it. And when you have a timeout and then you need a defensive stop, Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson are not the 2 in mind that I would have on the court. I would have had Beasley in there. Obviously, we didn't have Sexton, but maybe Nah, right? And to whoever's point, we didn't even have a timeout after he scored that basket. Whoever said that, I want to go over to you on the mic, because that's a huge point as well. I think it was
Didn't we take a timeout before Lauri took his 3 free throws after he got fouled? Like, didn't we take that timeout? Like, why are we taking a timeout before Lauri shoots free throws? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we took a timeout before his free throws at like the 22-second mark.
When he had the 3 free throws?
I believe.
Because I looked down at one point and felt like we had four timeouts, and then they just disappeared.
So I believe the rule is after 2 minutes, each team loses any of their additional timeouts, and then you only go to each team has 2.
Oh.
And then,
What a dumb rule.
I believe we took one, so I just messaged it in the message part, but 56 seconds and then 21 seconds when we used both of those timeouts.
Yeah, and he shot free throws at like the 22 or 21 second mark.
Right.
So I just thought it was weird.
That's weird.
We were
that
taking
you ice your own player.
So I'm rewatching this. Oh, I was rewatching this replay on YouTube. Uh-oh. Hang on. So Lowry's guarding Fox up at the 3-point line, but that wasn't the one that they switched. That wasn't the 0.4 seconds, was it? Yes, it was. Why would they put Lauri on De'Aaron Fox for the last stop?
Well, I mean,
I think the Kings subbed some players, and when Lauri was shooting his free throws, they didn't call assignments, and so Lauri just got Fox. Not more by happenstance than anything. Man. And then they switched to JC, I think, is how that worked out. But
I think also it came down to the fact that I think JC was finally starting to realize that he had no business guarding Fox, and he was trying to switch off him. Fox was just destroying JC all game long.
Yeah,
JC, you got to have him in the game because JC was having a great offensive game, but I mean, he couldn't do anything about Fox. And that was the one thing about Coach's interview I kind of have a problem with. Like, when you have a guy who has 20 plus points in the third quarter, can't sit up there and say, yeah, we'll live with that mid-range shot. Like, when he's like 8 for 10 inside that mid shot, you need to adjust your damn game plan and start guarding him on the mid shot. Like, you got to stop giving him that damn open look. And they just gave it to him all game long. They were just like, yeah, we'll live with it. Like, you think he's just going to magically stop missing it? Like after the 8th or 9th time he's made a wide open 15-footer, he's just going to magically start missing it? Like, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like you have to start guarding him at that shot. Like, you can't just give it to him all game long. And maybe we don't have anybody on the team who can guard him there. Maybe that's why you have to give it to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like you just can't give it to him all game long. And JC just did. JC, Beasley, Vanderbilt, whoever it was, just gave him that 15-footer all game long.
For sure. And Dallin, we've got some comments. Can you check those? I'm going to hand it over to you to read the comments. But my other thought is the play before that. So Lauri Markkanen gets fouled on the three-point shot, but De'Aaron Fox also scored the play before that. That's the play I'm thinking of when Vandal was guarding him. They ran a pick and switched it, and JC ended up on him. You've got to say stick on him. I love that they put Vandal on him, but why wait so long? Or maybe it was, hey, we're not going to show the whole Vandal thing until we absolutely need it. This is a game that you would have loved to have Colin Sexton for his energy. And at one point, it just looked like they had our number. In the first quarter, I believe we were down 12 or 15. No, 14 was the biggest lead. And I thought, oh, shoot, this is going to be a scary night because they just looked younger. They looked more energetic. They looked faster. We looked like we weren't flying around enough to keep up with them. And we fought back into it. I know I said this last podcast. I actually think that these 5 losses in a row are extremely healthy for the Jazz because I feel like tonight we actually saw defensive effort. You could tell they went back and practiced the rotations on defense, the helping the helper. They looked more on a string when the ball was being passed. Even the transition defense, if you watched the big men, Kessler sprinted back multiple times. There were other guys. I believe the fast break points were only 7. Yeah, they only had 7 fast break points, which is huge for us because that's really our weakness, or has been all season. Second chance points, we just killed them 24-10 on second chance points. So we had 14 more second chance points, and they had 52 points in the paint. We had 48. But another thing, Kevin, that you've mentioned where you always predict what coach is going to say, we didn't shoot very well from the three-point line. And I feel like that's probably the next step for this team to figure out is, look, other teams know that we can shoot the three, and they're pushing us off the line and making it harder for us, which is, I believe, why Lauri has kind of figured it out as far as being able to drive and score other than the three-point line. But the rest of the team's got to figure out because you've got Beasley, who goes 3 for 9. He has 16 points, 5 for 12. And then you've got Clarkson, who shot pretty well. But then Rudy Gay's minutes. That's another thing that I want to hit on. And guys,
Hey, while you're doing that, just real fast, you want to just take a guess how many shots we took outside the paint and outside the three-point arc? Like, inside the three-point arc, outside the paint. In the entire game.
Oh, probably not very many. It was either in the paint or a three-pointer is usually how we shoot.
4. We took 4. We took 4 shots that weren't in the paint or outside the three-point arc. The entire game.
Let me pull up this because they've got the game charts, the shot charts.
5.
Oh man.
And we only made 1 of the 5.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, I'll read the comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to add that in there because, teams have no trouble guarding us because all you have to do is run us off the three-point line and freaking pack the box because we're not going to take a mid-range shot on you, ever.
So Corey Blue, if he wants to talk, go ahead and request. But he said, could we not get some home court love on the clock management there at the end?
No kidding.
And then I posted the timeouts we had in the fourth quarter. It was 7-minute mark, and then the 1-minute mark, and then 20-second mark. And then JC's drip, he also actually posted. Tony Jones almost said the same exact thing, where if you thought that we were supposed to have extra time after that De'Aaron Fox bucket, you're correct. It should have been 0.6. And JC's drip posted the picture of the bucket going in and the ball all the way through the hoop, and there's 0.6 on the clock. So if anybody wants to go look at that picture. I also thought it was weird. I think Olynyk's like laying on the ground there, and Vandal's like giving him the knee in the back. But anyways.
See, so like they're gonna put out the 2-minute report tomorrow. We never used our challenge. You'd think at an end of the game like that, you could challenge. I mean, if somebody's,
we don't have a timeout.
If somebody's paying attention, yeah, it's just crazy because they're gonna go to the 2-minute report, probably say, yeah, there should have been more time on the clock. In that case, then the shot would have counted, and you can't reverse a win or a loss. So it's like I really don't get why they even do the 2-minute report, just to piss fans off a little bit more. But Dallin, did you say we had someone request to speak?
I think Colin, since he's on the East Coast, I think we'll go to him first, and then we'll go to Corey. Corey doesn't mind waiting. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Long time no see.
Yeah, where you been, bro?
I've just been busy. Honestly, what's been going on is I've actually been playing a lot of basketball myself, and I've just been so exhausted. Like, I'll go to work and then come home and then go to the gym for like 3 hours or so. I've just been really into it lately. And then I just go to sleep. Like, I'll watch the end of the game, and then I'm like, I'm going to sleep.
It's probably healthier for you anyways.
Working on your craft.
The stress.
Yeah, I'm working on my
stress
craft.
for the Jazz game.
Working on my shot. I'm trying to make the Jazz. Anyways, I think I'd be better than Rudy Gay, but we'll leave that somewhere else. Anyways, that's heartbreaking. And the first thing I thought of when I saw, because at first I thought it counted, but the thing is, I knew it was really close, so I didn't actually like get up screaming. But I stood up and started jumping, but I didn't like scream. Like I would have screamed if I knew it was counted. But my first thought was, there's no way that they got the exact number of time right off the last bucket.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought. And then now that we know it was more, it makes me upset. Which of course it was more. It's always a little bit more than what they think, because the person who's stopping the shot clock is only human. It's human reaction time. Of course it's less, but it sucks that we couldn't. That I don't know if Will Hardy didn't think. Well, we didn't have a timeout, but I also don't know. That all happened so fast. I wonder if Will Hardy would even have thought to do it. But then you can say, if we challenged it, then does the same event happen? Who knows?
Yeah.
And plus, if we have a timeout, then we don't have to throw it across the court. We're up. We have a chance of, if he wants to challenge it and then keeps the timeout, we get the challenge and we keep the timeout and we get to go up to the half court, right?
Yeah.
And Sacramento's defense gets set. So,
that's a game changer. That's a game changer. But yeah. Anyways, you can go through a bunch of hyperboles. Like, I have hypotheticals. Oh, I wanted to say though is that I want to get on board with the tank so bad, but seeing these tweets about how they've only lost the last 5 by 15 makes it so like hard, because they're just going to win. They're going to turn around and win 5 in a row the same way that they lost 5 in a row. It feels like that. But it's so hard to root. Like, I don't know. It's just, now that we're down as far down as we are, I think we're on the same level as the Timberwolves now. You kind of. Some people would be mad if I say it, but I kind of want them to lose. But
the worst part about this losing streak is if we don't trade anyone, it's gonna hurt so bad. Because
when is the trade deadline open?
February 9th?
That's
February 9th?
Yeah.
That's the deadline, right?
It's already open.
It's been open. It's technically open all season long.
I expect Danny Ainge to make trades. I don't think that he'll see what he's seeing, and he'll think that even though there's a chance that we could make the play-in, I think he'll still, even with that chance, still be like, why would we want to make a plan? Why would we want to do that? Because that's what our team is right now. We're a play-in 8th seed team. Maybe 7th, like very, very maybe. I mean, very maybe 7th seed team. But right now I mean, playing's that anyways, but that we're a playing team. So I think Danny Ainge is going to see that and definitely make trades. And Danny Ainge is usually on the right side of trades or on the right side of making trades for his teams to do better in the future. And if that means tanking, that means tanking. And I think he's going to notice that, and he's going to do that. The only person that I think would stand in his way is maybe Ryan. But I wonder how much, actual authority Ryan is giving Danny Ainge for these specific things, which I think he should be given full reign. But we'll see.
So
I think they're pretty good buddies, yeah.
I don't know why he would bring him in just to veto him in the first year. Like, maybe if it was the second or third year, but I don't think you bring a guy like Danny Ainge in to veto him in the first year. But I could be wrong.
Danny work his magic, yeah.
My new theme and kind of what I've been tweeting out is ride the wave. Like, I think as Jazz fans, we're thinking as a fan, and I don't think that's how the front office is looking at this at all. I don't think they're desperate to make a trade. I think if we don't make a trade, a lot of fans will be upset. I think as fans, we want to see what direction we're going to go. But there's an account that tweets out, as our current standings every day after we win or lose, they tweet out what our current picks would be. And I believe before this game, we were like the 8th and the 13th pick. The 8th would be Minnesota's and the 13th would be ours. And like, I'm not mad about it, right? Like, you can get 2 good picks with 8 and 13, especially if Danny pulls some strings as far as making a trade during the draft, possibly. But I really think that we're so impatient as fans, and I kind of had to take a step back because these 5 losses, right? If you're a team that's expected to win for or compete for a championship, these really hurt. And they do sting. But I actually like these losses because we're right there, we're competing, and it's forcing us to look at what we need to improve on. I thought this was probably our best defensive game, including transition defense. And they're going to look at other things, and you can tell, Coach put in Ochai super early, I believe, just kind of send a message to some of these other guys because he didn't come back in after the second half. But it's fun if we can be patient as a fan base and kind of just ride the wave knowing, hey, if we win, awesome. We'll get, it's unexpected. We'll get in the playoffs, possibly have a chance. If we lose, even if we're, in a play-in game and lose the play-in game, I believe we're still going to have good picks. But yeah, then there's the draw. I saw a highlight of Scoot today that I retweeted out and just thought, oh man, I would love to lose. So our hearts and our fandom is getting pulled in so many different directions that it's hard to just ride the wave and stay calm. And I think that's what the front office and management is doing. I don't think they're going to do anything stupid as far as a trade. And if this team figures it out, they feel like, great, we'll get some playoff experience. If not, we'll improve our draft picks. And I could be wrong, but that's kind of the feeling that I get.
Yeah, I think with Ochai, he's getting meaningful minutes there in the second quarter instead of playing garbage time. But I think there's more to having meaningful minutes. But I was going to do we want to go to Corey now? Or?
Yeah. Let's pass the mic.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's up, Corey?
First time chatting with y'all. It's good to talk with you.
We love first timers. Spend as much time as you want. Take the mic from us. We talk too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting season. This team has exceeded my expectations. I'm kind of with some of y'all where what I'm really looking for this season is exciting games, but I'm not too upset if we lose, especially near the end. but obviously losses still hurt. One thing I loved about this team early on is it felt like our offense was pretty electric. It was shocking to me because I thought losing, Donovan and Rudy, that our offense would just be very stagnant. But it was, just the opposite. There seemed to be a lot of movement, right? We would go inside out. A lot of our guards were flashing to the rim. And it seems like lately, especially in these last few losses, it feels like our offense is just so stagnant, right? We'll set those screens on the outside, but we're getting no open looks from the three, right? And that's one thing that I felt like Sacramento did really well. And watching their offense tonight, I'm like, I really like what I'm seeing. There's very little, they were always moving, and they played inside out. How many times did Harrison Barnes get a wide open three because they passed the ball into Sabonis? Our team, our guards, sink into no man's land. Really, they're guarding nobody. And then they kick it out to Harrison Barnes for a wide open three.
Yeah.
And, we're not getting any of that, right? We're not going into Markkanen in the key. We're not going into Olynyk in the key and letting our guards flash or kicking it back out for wide open threes. And it's been frustrating to watch these last few games, just all the contested jumpers. I mean, Jordan Clarkson, it looks like he's got a blanket over him every game. He can't even dribble anymore. Our teams have figured that out. They're like, we can just pressure him like nothing else, and he will just dribble the ball off his foot. So I don't know. That's been kind of frustrating for me because I know we have the potential to have a much more electric offense, and it just feels like we're stuck in the mud right now.
Yeah, I would agree. A few games ago, we were complaining about getting Lauri the ball more and giving it to him in crunch time. And I feel like this game, it was obvious to me in the first quarter that they were trying to get Lauri the ball, almost so obvious that they were forcing it and probably making some mistakes. So I would go back to, this is Coach's first year. Maybe he's starting with a whole new offense and slowly adding things in. But I agree with you. This Sacramento team, they're good. They're a good team. Yeah. But you've got to take into consideration that they've been rebuilding for a while too.
Right.
And we're contending with them. So give us another year. I just think next year is going to be amazing with a couple draft picks and an off season. I think we're in for a real treat next year, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm all on board the Lauri Markkanen train. And in fact, when we were having our winning streak early in the season, it always felt like he was our best player. But I was always scratching my head, wondering why are we not running more plays through him? Right. It kind of just felt like he was getting a lot of his points off of just kind of like last second shot clock, shots. And then, but I think with Markkanen, what the coaches need to improve on is he's a great player, but he's not a player like Colin Sexton or Jordan Clarkson, where he can get to his spots. From getting the ball, crossing half court. He's not great at getting to his spot and making a play, which is why I think when we get him the ball above the 3-point line, he tends to really stumble when he tries to get into the key, right? He'll do a reverse. Yeah, he'll do a reverse move, and a lot of the defender wings will come and try to pick his pocket. I mean, we need to get him into the key, have him come off screens like we kind of did with Gordon Hayward, and then get into the paint and kind of play inside out with him. It just feels like he's not as good with the ball in his hands from the 3-point line, getting into the paint.
Yeah, I would also like to see him used a little bit more like Jokic is with Denver, where he's catching the ball maybe on the low block or short corners, maybe even up at the nail, and then facilitating, because he's a good passer too. And I think you're right where he I don't even know if he knows where his spots are necessarily, and I think the team's still trying to figure that out. But yeah, when he catches the ball beyond the 3-point line, if it's not an open catch and shoot three, he tends to struggle creating a shot for himself. I would totally agree on that.
I want to run something by you guys, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, we're all pulling our hair out with Rudy Gay, wondering why is he getting minutes? I see all the flaws in THT like everyone else, right? I do, but when I watch a game like tonight and I look at Rudy Gay's stat line, I wonder, like, what is it that that Rudy's can or can't do that THT can't, right? I mean, he will turn the ball over, but he has moments where he is electric. He can make plays, and he's so long. He's a better defender in some certain spots. But tell me what you guys think about that. Like,
yeah, I think Rudy Gay's probably the best part about him is his defense because he's long. But I do think THT can guard bigger bodies as well, just because he is bigger body. He's lengthy. Yeah, in my opinion, then Dallin, I'll go to you or Kevin. I would personally like to see Ochai or THT play, just to develop them and see what they can do. We were getting excited about THT there for a while, and then all of a sudden it's just like his minutes got cut as soon as Mike came back, and I'm sure it's confusing for him.
Yeah.
And so I'm on board. I'd rather see these young guys get a shot, but I don't know what the consensus is among the coaching staff. Dallin, what do you think?
First off, you got to use that "we" a lot lighter, because I was never excited about THT. I wasn't even excited about the trade. I think this will be his last stop in the NBA. He's a journeyman at best. That's just my opinion. I think the things that Rudy Gay brings, you can't see in a stat sheet. And honestly, I don't think you can even see them in a broadcast. I think they're the kind of things you can see if you're at a game and you're watching off the broadcast. He's going to do those savvy veteran stuff, those little rub picks on offense, those little rub picks on defense. Like, they're just things that veteran players do that rookie young players aren't going to do. And they're intangible things that you just don't see unless you're a coach, that you're watching the game, you're going back and you're watching complete film. And they're little things that help the game that you don't see, that you're not going to get out of the THTs or the Nas and whatnot. With that said, he doesn't bring a lot to the offense. He doesn't bring a lot to any of the other stuff, but I think that he does bring a lot of the intangibles that those other guys don't bring. With that said, I'm not super upset not to get THT on the floor, because I don't think THT brings anything that Na doesn't. And I think the upside on Na is a lot greater, and I'd rather see Na get some more of those minutes.
I think, with just the same consensus of these guys, Rudy Gay's defense is obviously better than his offense now. I think Coach keeps him out there because he wants the younger guys, especially probably Walker Kessler, to see how to play and defend the game properly. And that's probably the main reason why he gets minutes. Is this is a professional that's played in the league for 15 plus years and has played it at a high level, and he knows the little angles that you're supposed to be at that the younger players don't know. I would love as a fan to see Ochai and THT get those minutes, like Jordan said, just to develop. But at the same time, I think Walker Kessler is more of has more of a prominent role in this on this team in the near future. So playing him alongside Rudy Gay is more helpful for us in the long run.
So I have so many thoughts. I'm thinking about the past few games that, like, they just seem to sting a little bit more and more. And the big 3-point shots by Herter and Hero, and you think, oh, it can't hurt worse than this. But then you have another basket with 0.1 seconds, a tenth of a second, and you make the basket. I mean, it would have been totally different if Lauri would have just missed that basket and it wouldn't have stung. But like, even me is just like, dang, dude, like when are these guys going to catch a break? And you've got to think the law of averages. At some point, these guys, if they keep fighting the way they are, they're going to catch a break, and then they're going to catch a little bit of momentum. Our next 3 games are on the road at Houston, at Chicago, and then back-to-back at Memphis. So I know we've been talking about how this is this.
So you don't think this is the law of averages?
I was going to say the winning at the beginning of the season.
You don't think this is balancing it out for all the that streak that we won in the beginning of this season's like?
No, because I feel like all these games, San Antonio, you lose by 4. Golden State, you lose by 5. Sacramento, you lose by 1. Miami, you lose by a buzzer beater 3. Sacramento, you lose by a buzzer beater 3. So like in the 5 games, the point difference in those 5 games is 15 points. So I
But what about all those? What about the big games that we won? Like when we beat the Pelicans 3 times. We beat Milwaukee. We beat the Celtics. We beat the Nets. Like all these big teams that are leading the league that we beat early in the season that we probably had no business competing with early in the season.
Well, I guess you could look at it either the glass half full or half empty. Because, like, to me, that validates that we're good because we beat those teams. And so, to me, when I look at these...
I was just going back to your whole law of averages analogy.
Yeah. I mean, I think those wins were legitimate because they were by more... Like, they weren't as close of games. I know some of them were close, but one of them, we beat Memphis by like 15 points. Another one, we beat Denver by 20 points, 21 points. So, to me, the law of averages, it's like, okay, if we're in these games and competing and it's coming down to one possession, we're a lot better than we actually think. So, I guess you could argue it both ways, but I just think that we're a good team. We beat New Orleans by 21 points. Then the next night, or we played them twice, then we beat them handily again. I just think that we're playing these good teams. Sacramento, Miami, Golden State, defending champions. The worst team we played was San Antonio, and that was after the Christmas break where we looked like we were playing in the sand. But we still came back and fought back and gave ourselves a chance to win and be in that game. So
want to welcome James and Bobby if any of you guys want to.
James and Bobby, take the mic from us.
Yes.
Request to speak, but
and I don't disagree with you, Jordan, and I love your optimism. I'm just playing the devil's advocate, that's all.
Yeah, it's I love where we're at, to be honest. I wish that we were where Sacramento is because not too long ago we were saying, actually the first game we played them, we were only a game behind them. That was December 30th. And had we beaten them that game, we would have been tied with them, but now they're 3 games ahead of us. So you can see how easy it is to move up and down in the West right now, and quite frankly, it would be easy for us to just tank out and be the bottom 3 in the West too. So I still love where we're at, and I think a lot of Jazz fans are getting frustrated with where we're at because we don't know. We're just sitting right there in the middle, and at some point it's going to break either way, and it could easily be breaking towards the loss way, but I just feel with these close games that it's not going to go that way, but I have been wrong before.
So how do we break out of the middle without making a trade? Because who out there thinks we're a good enough team to get out of the first round with this current roster?
Crickets.
I don't think anybody. It would take injuries for other teams, and just as it sits, playing everyone healthy, that's just not going to happen. We're not going to get out of the first.
Because I'm all about winning, and I'm all about being a winning team, but I don't want to repeat of the last 3 seasons where we compete in the first round or an early exit in the second round. Like, I want to be progressing toward a championship as a Jazz fan who hasn't been that way in a little bit, and I just don't see how we get there without taking a step back to take 2 steps forward. And I just feel like where we're at right now, it's easier for us to take a step back to take 2 steps forward than to progress where we're at now. And I don't know if anyone can enlighten me on how we get to the next step with where we're at now. I will be the first person to jump on board, because I would love not to have 2-3 seasons losing or to be the Kings for the next 5-6 years and have to endure horrific losing seasons to be where they're at now. Like, I don't want to go that route, but I just
see,
I don't see a path forward.
I would love us making the first round just for the fact that you got these young guys. Lauri, that would be his first time to the playoffs. I would even love just a play-in game. And think back last year, Minnesota, when Pat Beverly was standing up on the on the scoreboard like he was Dwayne Wade. Like, imagine if that's Lauri Markkanen in Utah. It just would do something for him as a player. And
Did he trade it to the Jazz and then to the Lakers?
No, to win a play-in game. To win a play-in game and feel the energy of our home crowd in a playoff game, because our crowd goes crazy, and they were actually really crazy on that game on New Year's Eve. I felt like finally that's what a Jazz arena felt like. Even when we played in Sacramento, I thought, man, the Sacramento fans felt like the fans did in the 90s when Carl and John would play. Like, every little play, they were standing up. And I want that feeling back for our players and these young guys to know, Kessler to know what that feeling's like, to be on pure adrenaline and be able to take it to the next step. And yeah, we probably lose in a first round playoff series, but I think we could win a play-in game. And honestly, to me, that would be a perfect ending to the season. Win a play-in game, play in a first round playoff to get some playoff experience, and then go to the off season, draft some good players, and build on the off season. But every fan's gonna wish something different because there's so many different possibilities.
No, for sure. So your dream scenario is that Minnesota Timberwolves absolutely just fall on their face and we get the top 5 pick from there, and then we make the playoffs too.
I like
that idea.
Yeah, I would love to play. Minnesota would be the last play-in team. We'd be the best play-in team. And Lauri Markkanen yams it all over Rudy Gobert to win the game in Utah.
That's legitimately the worst case scenario I could possibly think of.
Oh, I would love it.
No, yeah, but I would love. Pick would be horrible.
I know, that would be horrific.
or he could hit a 1-foot jump shot, Dirk Nowitzki 3 like he did tonight at the buzzer, but it actually counts. I mean, I'll take either one.
I'm still hoping. Go ahead.
So I think this maybe is where you're going to, but so for those of you that are wanting the Jazz to make trades, are you wanting them to trade to get to make the team better, or are you wanting them to trade to make the team worse and continue the tanking out?
I just want to know the direction. That's all I want to
do. Okay.
Right. I want to know if they make a trade and it's going to improve us, and we're going to be the 3rd to the 6th seed. Then great. Then I'm hoping that we win a playoff round and we go to the second round. If not, I'll know by the trade what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, if they're obviously giving up assets, then they're trying to win this year. If they're just collecting assets, then they're tanking. So I just want to know what direction. That's all.
Yeah, I'd honestly be fine with if they make a trade either way. I think it'd be fun just to see some movement.
As someone who's pro tank, I'm okay with trading for a better player too, as long as it's more than a 1 year rental. As long as it's and I'm throwing this name out there just like a John Collins who's locked up for 3 years. I don't necessarily want him, but like someone who we can invest in, like a Lauri Markkanen, who we have team control for 2 or 3 more years, something like that we can continue to develop. I don't want to trade assets for a 1 year or 2 year run. Like, I want to trade for better players that we can continue to grow and build around.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I know we've talked about this a lot lately, so I kind of want to move on and then end the podcast. But our next home game is against who? Anybody guess?
Donovan Mitchell?
I'm hanging up if you...
Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell frickin' went off, had a historic night last night, and it got me thinking, and they were talking about this on sports radio, like, if the Jazz fans boo, and we've kind of debated this, if the Jazz fans boo before when they're calling him out, it's gonna make Jazz fans look really, really bad, right? The media is gonna grab a hold on that, and who knows where the story can go. But
that we're a bunch of racists is what's gonna happen,
right?
And, yeah.
So I've been back and forth. I was like, yeah, I'd probably boo, but if you think about it, it's probably like as the game's going on, maybe he's shooting free throws or has the ball and we boo him. But I think as a fan base, the smartest thing to do, and Kevin, you've been on this since day one, is to cheer Donovan Mitchell for what he's done.
I've been on that wave too. You need to
100%.
cheer, Don.
Why in the world would we boo him at all?
Well, and I think the smartest thing for the organization to do, because when Rudy came back, they played his tribute video during a timeout, which was actually kind of awkward to me because he was like trying to listen to his coach, and then they were playing they need to play the tribute video before, whether people are in their seats or not. They need to do that so that fans can remember all the good memories that we had with Donovan, because we had some really awesome ones. And watching him go off for 71 last night again, I mean, if that would have happened in Utah, we would have been going insane. We probably would have built a statue of him out front.
Or play it twice. Play it in the introduction and play it first time out.
Yeah, or at halftime. Like, I just think that needs to happen. And if you're a Jazz fan going to that game and thinking about booing, I would recommend not booing until the actual game is going on, because we don't need that on our fan base.
It's ridiculous, because I wish all Jazz fans would just dig deep into their memory bank of the last 3 or 4 years and just think about all the times they were sitting on their couch watching the Jazz, especially after the Gordon Hayward bullshit.
Yeah.
Think about the year after that, sitting on their couch watching the Jazz and all the joy they got from watching this young Donovan Mitchell from Louisville just break into the scene, right? That's why I will cheer for him, right? Like, I'll cheer for him because he brought me a lot of joy for 3 or 4 years or whatever, that I would never have gotten otherwise. And I didn't anticipate getting that, right? I thought, we're going to be terrible for the next how many years. So, like, he brought life back to this fan base and to the franchise, and that should be it, period, right? Regardless of all the other stuff that people are upset about. And don't get me wrong, a lot of, like, I'm frustrated about his defense. I felt like he just gave up on trying to play defense that last year. I'm kind of frustrated by how he handled some of the Rudy Gobert stuff and not supporting him through things. But all that should just go to the side, and people should just remember how much joy he brought this franchise.
I agree. We were all extremely salty at Gordon Hayward, and he was like, you break up with a girlfriend and then you got a hotter girlfriend and everything was fine. So yeah, I totally agree.
Lowry's pretty sexy. So.
Lowry is sexy, man. Even my grandma has the hots for him.
That's the thing about it. Sometimes relationships don't work out. Like, we all loved Don. He was great. But we saw there toward the end that for one reason or another, he just didn't want to be here anymore. Whether that was something that happened between him and, there's a story between him and some of the political leaders in our state, or him and his agent wanting him to be in New York because of the ties with the New York. Well, no matter what it is, like, you could tell he didn't want to be here. So, You know what? I want him to be where he wants to be happy.
Yeah.
And if that's in New York or that's in Cleveland, I wish him the best, because you know what? He brought me a lot of really good memories, and I cheered him last night. I was super excited for him.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he was able to have that moment. And I will cheer him. I'll cheer him when he comes to the All-Star game, because it just didn't work out, and that's unfortunate. But that's no reason to boo him. Because I'm bitter and I'm jealous and I'm angry that he scorned me, because that's just immature and petty, and we need less of that in this world. And we need more kind, caring. I'm grateful for what you gave me, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to have that time. So.
Yeah.
It also just felt like it was ready. It was time, right? I know a lot of Jazz fans are bitter about it. And don't get me wrong, I would love to have Donovan Mitchell on our team scoring 70 points. But for most educated Jazz fans, right, that watch every game of the season, we understood that this was probably for the best, right? We weren't going to get anywhere with that team that we had, and changes needed to happen. And a lot of us understand that, and so, why would we boo him before that, right?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I hope that most Jazz fans can see that. I think once they get to the arena, the majority will, and the rest will catch on board with as far as cheering him on and being appreciative of what he did here in Utah. Another note I wanted to hit on before we end this is Jordan Clarkson scored 10,000 career points tonight. That's quite a feat, and we've gotten into these NBA Top Shots, the NBA NFTs, and I asked the guy that runs the group, is that going to be a moment? Because that's a moment that I would like to buy, of him in a Jazz fan or in a Jazz uniform scoring 10,000 points. The other thing is, with going back to Donovan Mitchell, we got probably one of the best players we could have got in the King of the North, the finisher. And I tweeted out a statistic today that I'm going to read off. Only Lauri and LeBron have averaged 60% shooting from 2 and 40% from 3 while averaging 20 points in an NBA season. Only 5 players have done it ever. So if Lowry's able to keep this up, I know that the 71-point game by Donovan is sexy, and it's hard to not have those thoughts of, man, what if we would have just traded Rudy? Because I was having them last night. I promise. What if we would have just rebuilt around Donovan, But also,
you're crazy.
We got one of the best options we possibly could have. Even if that trade would have went down with New York Knicks and we would have got Grimes and Barrett and all that, I believe this trade with Markkanen is much, much better, and we have a better player as far as him being willing to be a team player, but also just being a 7-footer and having so many unique talents that he does have.
Can I say this about Donovan's situation in Utah? It was also very unique. Most rookies that contribute to their team in the way that Don did aren't contributing to a team that's winning. And so when Don came in and immediately took over and started winning, he kind of got I feel like it's kind of all of his dreams coming true at once. And for us fans, it's like, wow, we have the star coming up and everything like that. And for the 5 years that we had him, most rookies, when they come into a team, they're coming to, because he's a 13th pick. Most players that are as good as him are are a top 5 pick almost all the time, or that good are a top 5 pick. And those top 5 picks are going to really, really bad teams. And so they slowly get better. I'm talking years and years and years, maybe 5-6 years into the future. Maybe they're finally making the playoffs. You saw Devin Booker, 7 years, and then he made the playoffs finally, or 6 or 7 years, and he finally made the playoffs. When players have to build for that, and they slowly get better every year, I feel like they're more inclined to stay. But with Donovan's situation, it was he had everything, and you even see the stars. When stars are on a team, and their chances die out, even for LeBron in Miami. Once that died out, he's gone. When it died out in Cleveland again, he's gone. I feel like for Donovan's situation, it was, well, I already tried winning with this team, and we were already good, and we already had a chance of winning. And so I feel like at that point it was, well, I want to go somewhere else now because I already did try winning with that team. And usually it doesn't happen 5 years in a career. Usually it's 8 or 9 years into a career that they're doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for, and he technically didn't request a trade. We all knew, like, this was one of the things was that I'm okay with the fact that we traded him because I know that in 3 years he was probably going to leave for free anyways. And then are we winning a championship in 3 years anyways? No, most likely not. So we got a really good trade for him, and I'm really happy he's doing well. Obviously, you wish Donovan was on your team, and you wish he was a Damian Lillard type that was committing to a future permanently, so you don't have to worry about him ever leaving. But I also didn't want Danny Ainge to commit to Donovan, and then Donovan walk in 3 years. Which honestly, that's a coin flip. That's literally a coin flip. In my opinion, it was literally a coin flip whether he would walk in 3 years for nothing. And if we got nothing for Donovan, I would be so upset. But I just wanted to say that Donovan's situation was unique. He already did try winning with our team. What else does he really owe us? Most players only do that once with their team anyways. Really try to win before they leave. Very rarely do you get a player that does it multiple times over and over again.
That's a great point, Colin. I appreciate you sharing that because I don't think a lot of us think about that either. You look at these teams that are rebuilding. Oklahoma City, it feels like they've been rebuilding forever since Chris Paul left. Houston comes to mind. Who are some other ones? Not really the Clippers. They got quiet. San Antonio. 76ers. Yeah, trust in the process for 20 years. Even Sacramento, like they're finally a good team, but they've been rebuilding for a while. And so, yeah, it goes to show how well our organizations ran and really how awesome Danny Ainge is, in my opinion, to be able to do this already. And like I said earlier, it's going to be a real treat when we get a couple more draft players and really just an off season to be able to have our team and our group together. I know that we've got quite a few listeners in here. If you guys want to go ahead and request to speak, down will approve you. And my wife just walked in. She works at the stadium, and one of her friends, I think it was the New Year's Eve game, saved me 4 of these Jordan Clarkson posters dunking on none other than LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. They are sweet. I'm going to keep one for myself. If you're on YouTube, I'm showing them on the camera right now. But I'm thinking I'm going to give away these posters because I'm going to frame this. It's one of my favorite Jazz pictures just because...
Have your wife have JC sign them.
Oh, that would be awesome. She's not on that level yet, but I could ask. But I'm going to give them away. So if you're subscribed on either YouTube...
Give me one. I'll have Allison have JC sign it.
Yeah, she's tight with the team.
JFA's gonna talk now. We got some.
Yeah, go ahead, JFA.
Point of view now.
Did I hear Jordan Clarkson poster?
Yeah, you've got to be following on either. I might make it a little sweeter and like make a tweet that people have to retweet. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to listeners, followers on YouTube or Twitter. So make sure you're following.
Well, I am all about that.
And
she's a dedicated listener.
Yeah, you're here quite a bit. Maybe Maybe I can swing. Well, let's see.
I don't think I could accept a JC poster.
Yeah,
in clear
Kevin
conscience.
doesn't like JC enough.
I don't think I could do it in clear conscience. I think the gods would strike me down.
You can add
No.
me to that list.
I'm not gonna make you ship across the country.
But
Don't worry.
guys, it's the best picture because Westbrook is looking at LeBron like, "What are you doing, bro?" I just love it, man. It's an all-time picture for me. I actually
Have you followed Wob? That's his name.
Yeah.
And where he posts posts that photo and he adds like whatever star player is on the team the Jazz beat like after every.
Oh yeah,
Jazz
yeah.
win. It's like underneath Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, he said it would end once the Jazz went below 500, and so.
Oh no! Okay.
Oh,
dang it. Well,
it's
that was fun
over.
while it lasted.
I do. Before we go, you guys have probably talked about this a million times, but like I said, I've been slacking. I've been a bad Jazz fan. I haven't been tuning in. I haven't been watching many games.
Don't beat yourself up like that.
But do you guys think that Rudy Gobert? Do you guys think that Rudy Gobert ever gets to the level that he was on the Jazz ever again?
Oh, I had a weird thought about that today.
Because I was thinking about it recently, and
Snyder becomes then Minnesota's next coach.
Quinn, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have
that would be the only way, maybe.
I don't think he will. I think Quinn. They were together for so long, and he figured out how to use them. Obviously, Timberwolves aren't using him how they should. But I also had the thought because Anthony Edwards was complaining about the middle being too clogged, and I wonder if Donovan ever felt that way with Rudy in the middle.
I literally have this recurring dream that Rudy Gobert comes back to the Jazz in 2026, and in 2027, the Minnesota Timberwolves have a horrible season, and he accepts the number 1 draft pick for us. That was their pick.
Now that's a real dream. Well, his mom still lives here, so I mean, I wouldn't say that it's off the table.
How old is he now? How old is Gobert now?
I would laugh so hard because you know how they always.
What if he
send
gets a
NBA
killer
players?
deal? He gives us a killer deal.
You know how they always send NBA players to the draft to accept the pick? Can you imagine if with their pick we were in the lottery and we sent him to accept the pick and they fell to number 1 and he got to accept our pick for them on behalf?
That'd be the ultimate troll move.
That would be quite the story.
That general manager is the one that we got from He was the one that was in Denver when we got Rudy from
Yeah, he is. That would be hilarious. All right, well, do we have any other speakers or callers, Dallin?
I don't believe so. I think everybody else will just, unless Hal wants to talk, or Armani just topped in too. So, those guys want to hop on here at the end. But
I will ask one more question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How many more All-Stars does Gobert have in him?
I don't. If he
0.
Yeah, I would say 0. If
bold take, but I think it might be true. I think he's 30. He's a big frame, tall guy. They don't age very well. He gives
Utah. I bet he gives Utah better with his big contract. Let Minnesota pay off the rest of that contract, and he gives Utah a better deal to be here. I don't know. That's just my thought of it.
I think his heart's still in Utah too.
I'm in utter and dying pain.
Why?
Why is this?
We have no reason to have Bulls that game.
Bro, you're like an hour late.
I know. I was in pain. I didn't even want to touch my phone.
Lauri hit that shot. He was just like,
there's no way they called that off. I'm like, all right, bro, y'all got it.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a degenerate, but that shot, not counting, lost me $200 on Prize Picks.
Oh,
dude, damn.
That hurts.
But yeah, it lost me a lot of money.
Yeah, Tony Jones tweeted out that if you thought that there should have been 0.6 seconds on the clock, you were right. So go watch that, and that should make you feel better, Armani.
No, I had bet on the game too.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to end the podcast. We got
Howard's on,
somebody.
if he wants to say anything.
Yeah.
Hitting high notes,
Let's do it.
Yeah. He's all about taking. So.
You guys, yes. I mean, this is tank note. This is the perfect tank note game, right? So you get there right to the end, and you hit that almost shot at the end. That's great. So the question I gave to my coworker here real quick was, if you call Minnesota right now and say, you know what, hey, you want this year's pick back, you can have this year's pick back. You want Jared Vanderbilt back, you can have Jared Vanderbilt back. Taylor Horton Tucker, you can have him back. And I think like Jordan Clarkson and Rudy Gay to make the money work. And we'll take Rudy Gobert back. Do you make that trade?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. I would.
I'll take my answer off.
Absolutely not. That is insane.
I don't take it. I don't take it.
Do y'all see Walker Kessler? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm saying if Walker Kessler, you somehow have Kessler and Gobert, then yeah. But I'm sticking with Kessler.
No, I didn't say Kessler. I said THT, Jared Vanderbilt, Clarkson, and Rudy Gay, and then only one pick. The pick this year goes back to them.
I wouldn't do it with the pick, but I would do it for everybody else.
No, I would do it if they could somehow work out a way to keep $10 million of his salary. You can't build a team around his salary. It's the worst salary.
Why would we diverge those assets back to the Timberwolves just for Rudy when we have a young expiring big?
Because I think the chaos of them taking back 30% of the package that they traded for Rudy Gobert would just be hilarious. It's more of a hilarious.
No, it would be a good. I told you so. I do agree with that. I wouldn't. I
love Walker too much. I love Rudy. Don't get me wrong. I loved Rudy. I love Walker Kessler.
I saw something about that Minnesota's GM was Denver's GM in 2017 and 2013 when we fleeced them for Gobert and in the first place.
Yeah.
That's why the ultimate troll move is to send Rudy on the Jazz.
So what that guy should do is he should never pick up the phone from Utah Jazz ever again.
And I'm cool.
Yeah. He should just never pick up the phone. If he sees Utah Jazz on the phone, he should just.
I heard the same story that anytime Tim Connolly sees Danny Ainge on his phone, his staff members have to restrain him with a straitjacket to make sure he doesn't answer the call.
That's why the Rudy Gobert trade's not going down. So.
Have you guys actually watched any Timberwolves games? I'm trying to wrap my head around. Is the team